win for the Longhorns in Austin, Texas, and it's goodbye to A&M. Texas beats Texas A&M 27-17. Rod B, Texas did it on the ground. They did it through the air. They did it with their defense. 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter. This is the Texas team that actually showed a defense in the fourth quarter, came back, big win for the Longhorns, 27-17. Texas over Texas A&M. It'll be another year for the Aggies before they can say they beat the Longhorns. Going on 16 years. Now, I guess it is. What do you think, Rod B, about this game and the Texas Longhorns tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it was a satisfying victory, right? Satisfaction is kind of what it feels like. The Aggies coming in one of the all-time highs of their program. Yeah, they're still going to go on to the college football playoff, but you essentially spoiled their chances at the undefeated season, the SEC title game. And I think for Texas, man, it was amazing that, and we got to give props to Trey Wisner first and foremost. I mean, somebody on the chat coined him, and I wish I could give him credit. The Travion Wisner, he's the rival slayer. I mean, that was that graphic that Owen Texas put out earlier today about Travion Wisner and what he did versus Oklahoma last year, and A&M last year, and Oklahoma earlier this year, and then now look at what he did versus the Aggies. I mean, now you talk about that guy is a legend now. Considering what he did versus Texas rivals. And I'm with you. I thought the defense stepped up and made some big plays in the second half and really started to stiff it in the second half. Really didn't allow the Aggies to get any groove, right? There was no real groove for the Aggies offensively. So I'll give PK a lot of credit. I like that game plan for PK. Sark, I thought his halftime adjustments were fantastic. He essentially decided, hey, when the run game is working, I know it's supposed to look a certain way, but the run game is working. Let's double down the run game. And Sark did that. I thought that was, it seems like a simplistic move, but it was the right move for him to put ego aside and just run the football. And then it opened up some things in the passing game. The scrambling ability of Arch, I thought was big. Scramble drill for him was amazing. He was great off schedule and kept kept some drives alive and made big plays. Even that first touchdown was him on the scramble drill. So I thought Arch made plays when he needed to put the cape on, when he needed to put the cape on. So I'll give the team a ton of credit, man. It showed a lot of testicular fortitude to go win that game versus the Aggies. The more desperate team won, and Texas played like that in the second half. They played like the more desperate team.
They did. Look, they beat A&M 24-7 in the second half, right? Yeah. They were down 10-3 at halftime. It looked like the offense was going nowhere. Arch Manning was having problems, it looked like, with accuracy. Of course, it also looked like he was a little gun-shy because he kept getting hit under the chin. When that running game, Rod, got going in the second half, it gave that pass rush for A&M a little pause, and all of a sudden Arch Manning heated up at one point, passing for well over 100 yards in the second half. Again, I also think there were a couple of key plays in this game that I'm going to tip my hat to Steve Sarkeesian for play calling. Yep. One, obviously, the Arch Manning quarterback run up the gut for the last touchdown of the game. And then also the Nick Townsend touchdown in the fourth quarter. An interesting play. They hadn't run it all year. They put Nick Townsend in the end zone, and sure enough, Texas comes away with a victory. We'll talk about this and more. There's stats up on the screen. We're going to get to those. We're going to have CJ Vogle, who's live on site. He's also going to be giving us some post-game press conference news and notes from Steve Sarkeesian. First, I want to say thank you before we get into all this for Flight, the next generation of light beer with only 95 calories. It's an easy drinking, upscale light beer designed to elevate your taste buds with just 2.6 carbs per serving. Flight's an easy-to-drink beer with a clean, crisp taste. Try Flight from Yuengling, thanks to the fine folks at Flight in Yuengling, as well as our friends over at Faust Distributing. Thank you so much, guys. Rod, let's look again at those stats because I tell you what, Arch Manning did not look good in the first half, but he was 14 of 29, finished there, 179, 1 touchdown running, 1 touchdown throwing. Trey Wisner, though, big one. 19 for 155, had a long of 48. He was money all game long, especially in that second half. Arch Manning also showed some wheels, 7 for 53. Marcel Reed, this is what we said about Marcel Reed. Really good in the short game. maybe gets himself challenged a little bit. Once he goes downfield a little bit more, they did not have the deep passing game today. Texas took that away. Just an outstanding win for the Longhorns overall. How would you critique Arch Manning's performance? Let's start with that offense and how he changed almost from the first half to the second half. Because to your point, in the first half, to my point, I said he didn't look very good. In the second half, Rod, you said he put on the cape.
Yeah, I think ultimately, it was the run game that opened up the offense, right? The run game was really the only thing working for him offensively. In the first half, it was the scrambling ability of Arch that kept some plays alive and gave Texas a couple of chunk plays on the ground. But I think Sark was able to figure out, all right, you know what? We found something in the run game. We can run against the Aggies. And that opened up a lot of other things offensively for them. But that first touchdown where that touchdown that he had with Brian Wingo in the back of the end zone, that touchdown, that was just all Arch. That was Arch on the scramble drill. And to me, that's when he's at his best. A lot of time is when he's, scrambling and improvising second reaction plays. But I think for Sark, it settled Sark down to know, all right, he wasn't grasping at straws when he figured out, all right, the run game works. All right, so we can build everything off the running game, whether it be the play action. I love the Nick Townsend tendency breaker. I always say to win big games, you got to broke tendency. All right, first of all, Nick Townsend, I don't even know how many targets he has. Probably around 5 targets, 6 targets maybe on the season. And to even have him be the focal point of any play is a tendency breaker. But then the actual play call, we hadn't seen that play call, like you said, all season long. That for the tight end kind of ending around there, reverse there. That was, I thought, brilliant, and I thought the timing of it was fantastic too. So, and Arch, one thing about Arch, and we talked about this on the live stream, when he gets a good play, his confidence does start to balloon and grow. And you can you build on that. He started being calm in the pocket, and he made more plays in the pocket when he had that big scramble drill touchdown play. From then on, I think he seemed like he was like totally relaxed after that play. So I do think for Arch, you got to know how to get him in the groove, and sometimes just Arch making a big play, seeing the ball go in the hoop, if you will. But what I liked about Sark is that he put his ego to the side. I think early on he did lead with the pass and thought the passing game was going to be the way. Turns out it wasn't. So the feel of the game, I think, for Sark was off in the first half. His feel of the game. Even think about that drive right before the half. That was a weird drive. You should have had points on the board there because his feel of the game was off. He was trying to take a shot play and be aggressive and go big game hunting. When the truth is, at that time, and even they talked about it on the broadcast, probably should have been trying to get points on the board the way the game was going. It was not a shootout. It turns out it was going to be a defensive struggle. And then I think Sark later on in the second half figured out, all right, run game works. Now we got something we can lean on. And then he kind of stacked concepts and built the game plan on top of that. So I'll give Sark a ton of credit, man. It seemed simplistic, but it was a fantastic adjustment just to lean into the run game for the second half.
A lot of unsung heroes or heroes in this game. Trey Wisner, you mentioned him. Arch Manning, obviously. How about Jack Indries with 4 catches for 93 yards? Way to go, Jack Indries. Big game there. Ryan Wingo with that catch in the back of the end zone. Parker Livingston with a catch over the middle as well. Not a big game from the wide receivers, but a steady game, and they certainly blocked well for Trey Wisner to rush for 155 yards. On defense, Lianga Lafau had 11 tackles, I think, in the first half, Rod B. Unbelievable. Wow. Anthony Smith came in the second half for him. Look, I think that Ethan Burke had 8 tackles, I believe, in the first half. He had a whale of a game, including on that punt return. So think about that. A lot of big plays and big players and big moments in this game. We're going to go over all of them. First, look, here's some people talking a little bit. Dad tired, horns up. We are the first good team they've played all year. They ain't us, says the Commodian. Also, Brett Mayfield, forever little bro, 1939. That's the last time they've been any good. Lane Seawright, big game Trey will never pay for a meal again in 5-1-2. He met or not, I'll just say that much. Sark literally defied the odds. Lots to improve on, but a heck of a finish. Texas fight. I want to give this moment to Rod. Yesterday on Texas football, I wrote, Texas has to have a true home field advantage in this game. How many false starts did A&M have, or how many procedure penalties they have compared to Texas?
Yeah.
What, they jumped off sides once and I think had 4 procedure penalties. The crowd in this game made a hell of a difference too. No doubt, home field advantage, big for the Longhorns, as well as anything. This one from Skin the Master Sparky. No gigging today, just straight hooking. Horns up, baby. Foster 30-40. Wisner the last 2 years against A&M.
Unbelievable.
And OU, 87 carries for 553 yards. You think Venables and Elko want him to graduate or go away, go to the pros?
It's amazing.
I think they do. Rod, what did you see in the run game that opened it up for Texas?
At first, I thought it was like the hard hitting runs, right? The quick hitting runs up the middle. I got to go back, obviously, and watch and try to figure out exactly what designs were. But even the Archie Manning run, right? I mean, that was kind of an inside. I think it looked like it was kind of an inside zone blocking concept for him. But either way, I mean, I feel like the inside running game was working for Texas more so than Texas, obviously hitting the edges with the outside zone, the stretch play. I felt like it was more the inside run game for him, which is kind of a tendency breaker in itself because that's not something you expect to see. So I think, Texas did a good job with, and I think Sark was testing it out early, like seeing if it would work almost to balance the offense out, and then kind of looked at things at halftime and went, man, you realize Trey Weiss was averaging 5 yards per carry, right? And even there was a one point in the second half where he went with Cedric Baxter for a drive, which I totally understand. You got to spell Trey Wisner, but man, that's questionable because he was the hot hand. It just felt like that Trey Wisner, whatever they were running and whatever way the Aggies were defending, like his vision, his anticipation, his patience, like it all worked. And that's just something about it. Now we got enough of a sample size. When Trey Wisner plays a rival, at least Oklahoma and the Aggies, man, we got to look at all-time stats against those teams and see who's averaging like 6 yards per rush versus them, because that's basically what Trey Wisner's done in the last 2 years.
Unbelievable effort. I wore this to the game or to our tailgate show today, our Friday afternoon. I wore the Cole Hudson jersey. Hey, Cole Hudson blocked his butt off tonight. So did Connor Robertson, DJ Campbell, Trevor Gooseby, as well as Brandon Baker. No flags on Brandon Baker on the night either. How about that? Offensive line did work. Congratulations to those guys for a big win tonight. Texas beating Texas A&M 27-17. And Rod, you force A&M to throw when they're down, and they got to move the ball. Texas picks them off twice. Michael Taft with the timely interception, with a big one coming up at the 3-yard line when it looked like A&M was going to take it back to one score game and try to make this a last minute or last second game. Michael Taft comes up with the big interception. Kobe Black then follows that up on the next possession with a squatted on a route and got in front of the wide receiver, made a beautiful interception as well. Texas defense came up big when it needed to tonight. Talking about the defense, Matt, let's look at the defensive stats. If you get a chance, please. I want to show those to folks before we move on to some other topics. I mentioned LaFau had 11 tackles in the first half, I believe. He finishes the game leader with 11. Jelani McDonald with 9. McDonald maybe one of the tougher plays of the night with the face mask. Yeah. Boy, that gave some life and energy to that A&M sideline. But congrats to Texas for stepping back out and stepping on the gas a little bit, scoring it to take it back out to a 10-point game. Ethan Burke with 9 tackles. Michael Taft in his final game as a Longhorn at home with 5. Manny Muhammad with 4. Grayson Littleton with 4. It was good to see him back. I want to say this. Both Littleton and Jelani McDonald were out of the game at the end of the first half. Not many people know this, but they went to the locker room before the end of the half. That brought in Wardell Mack, Xavier Gilsami, those guys. So Texas in the final 2 minutes were playing without both Littleton and McDonald. They both eventually came out. They were playing without Cade Phillips after the first series of the game. He got banged up. They wouldn't even let him have his helmet back. So he may have been in concussion protocol or got knocked woozy, and they said, no, we did it. So that's what happened to Cade Phillips, for people wondering as well. But look, big-time win, big-time atmosphere tonight for the Longhorns. What'd you think of this defense, Rod?
Well, she's amazing. I'm with you with all because at one point, Malik Muhammad had missed a little time early on in the first half, and like all the injuries that you mentioned in the secondary, and you're going up against one of the best wide receiving cores in all of college football with Concepcion and Craver and that group, and they never went off. They never got a chance to really attack any matchup advantages on the outside. Every now and then you saw them make a plays. I mean, those guys are NFL wide receivers, but they didn't take over the game. And I think that was a concern with the secondary, with the way things had played out the last couple of weeks, that, oh man, this matchup, the Aggies could potentially take this thing over if they can exploit that matchup. But I thought the DBs, even the guys who came in, the backups who came in when there were injuries there, I thought they played really well. Even Ron Roberson was in there for a long time. And all those guys, they did not attack the corners on the outside. And honestly, I don't think they had the pass protection to. I don't think, honestly, they trusted their pass protection to be able to, take advantage and be able to exploit some of those matchups downfield. So I was a little surprised by that, pleasantly so, that Texas held up really well against Concepcion and Craver. Like I said, I know Concepcion had his moments, but I don't feel like those guys were able to flip the odds in favor of A&M offensively at any time. I thought the DBs did a good job.
Yeah, I thought the DBs did a really good job. No deep balls, no what looked like busts. As a matter of fact, the only bust that I thought happened was Manny Muhammad letting a guy catch a ball 10 yards away. It turns out it was offensive pass interference.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
By the way, we got to talk about the referees not calling pass interference on the Aggies. These handsy DBs, both A&M and Georgia, both have handsy DBs. Ryan Wingo was interfered with twice. No call early in the
second one was definitely interference. The first one, I think they're just out. I agree with. I think it could have been two. The first one, I think their justification was he was also pushing off. Like they basically was.
He didn't initiate.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah. But the second one was ridiculous. I mean, come on now, that was so damn obvious. That was blatant. So I don't know. I would tell Texas, this is why their DB should play the same way. Because the SEC is obviously letting you play very aggressively as a DB. They don't start calling it on Texas. If they don't call it on Georgia and they don't call it on A&M, that means they don't call it on the best teams. They're letting you play aggressive at DB. Seems to me anyway.
Yeah. So Longhorns celebrate 27-17. Just saw Lucius fall to his knees in a dumpster. This from Sandman. Hey, I am getting hit up with all of our OTF contributors right now. I got Tony Hills. Feels good to be wrong. I got Brian Irwin, Coach Irwin, sending me a photo of Bevo. Raul Alegre. Remember him? He's been on a few times with us. I love Raul. He says my wife is still undefeated in this game. He's been bringing his wife to A&M games for a long time at home. She's still undefeated as well. Good stuff from those guys checking in with us. Rod, I want to say this about the Texas offensive line. It looked like that A&M pass rush gave Texas some problems in the first half. But even so, in the second half, that seemed to evaporate, whether it was Arch Manning with his unbelievable feat on that one throw to Jack Injuries. That was just unbelievable, where he evaded the pass rush and still got it off and dropped it in the bucket to Injuries. But did you hear Cassius Howell's name the entire night?
That's a great point.
He's got 11 and a half sacks. Seems like Texas took care of Cassius Howell tonight in the Aggie defense.
That's a great point. I didn't think about that. Yeah. And I felt like in the first half, the Aggies were getting a ton of pressure.
Unbelievable amount. Yeah.
Like an unbelievable amount. But I think that's what happens when you can run the ball effectively. I think Texas running the ball effectively really was able to neutralize the pressure because the priorities changed for the Aggies in terms of they were geared up to try to, I think, obviously get Texas in third and longs and then put together those exotic pressure packages. And it went from that to, Texas stayed ahead of the chains and Texas running the football, we got to make sure we stack the box and stop the run. And turns out that's the advantage Texas needs to take, that the Texas need to exploit, was the run game advantage. So that really changed. It changed the whole complexion of the game. It was no longer about Texas trying to, and I think I went into it kind of the same way Sark, I think, went into it, was, all right, we got to throw to win this damn game. You know, we want to exploit matchups on the outside to win the game. And no, actually, they were able to run the football against the Aggies. That's surprising because Texas can't consistently run against anybody, really, maybe except their rivals. I don't know. Like it was strange, but because it was, like I said, something you couldn't count on. You couldn't count on saying, oh, Texas is going to go into this game and they're going to rush for almost 200 yards or whatever they rushed for against the Aggies. I don't know if anybody predicted that. Did anybody? How many yards they rushed for overall?
You asked me today if Wisner would hit 70, and I said yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to remind y'all that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, nobody saw that coming. What was the rushing total? What was it, Matthew? Did they get to 218? 218?
218.
Who saw that coming? Who saw them getting 218 in the game? Nobody saw them winning that way. Like, that's what people could predict it. We all predicted wins. Nobody saw them winning. Oh, we're going to put 218 on the ground. Like, that's just, as I said, that's probably the most pleasant surprise of the season, that you did that. And you rushed the ball against the Oklahoma Sooners too. So maybe it's a rival thing. You can't just, rivalry is about lines of scrimmage, about physicality, no matter who's ranked where. And turns out, who thought Texas would win the physicality battle against the Aggies? And they did. And they did against the Sooners. We just want to see it more often because we know they're capable of it. These are against elite defenses too, guys. These are top 5, top 10 defenses. So hold on. You rushed for 160 against the Ohio State Buckeyes on the road. You rushed for over 200 versus the Aggies. How much they rushed for versus the Sooners?
I don't know.
But versus Kentucky and Mississippi State, you couldn't get it going. You know, it's just who knows? I mean, this has been one of those seasons where I've been happy to be wrong half the time about this damn team. And I was right here, but I did not see them winning by rushing for 200 yards, guys. Give Sark credit, because I did not. Half of it was I didn't know Sark would stick with it that much, and he did. I'll give Sark a lot of credit.
Yeah. Now we wait for tomorrow to happen, Rod. And what I mean by that is, you know, Texas now at 9-3 has an outside shot at going to the college football playoffs.
Oh,
believe me, they will have won. They will have beaten 3 top 10 teams. There are teams in the top 12 that haven't beaten any top 10 teams, including Utah, that needed, you know, a gift from Jalen Daniels twice today.
Do it.
There are a number of teams that are in that category. Now we wait. Auburn plays Alabama tomorrow. Miami plays Pitt as well. There's a couple other. I'm just looking through a couple other games that are going to matter right now. Jerry Hamilton sent me a note on some of this. Just a list of games that are going to actually matter. Tennessee needs to beat Vandy. I actually don't think Tennessee needs to beat Vandy now. I think Texas might go over Vandy, given that Texas beat Vandy. And, I mean, they scheduled Ohio State, and Texas remains the only team to stay within 7 points of Ohio State.
That's true.
Texas Tech would have to beat BYU, obviously, in the Big 12 title game in a big way to keep them out of the college football playoff as well. But look, that's what we're going to wait for tomorrow. We're still going to get to hear from CJ Vogle tonight, as well as from Steve Sarkeesian. I'm going to go to the chat line. Just saw a fellow Manziel fall to his knees at a frat party. This also from Sandman. He's our resident comedian. Good job. Let's go back here. Mike Gosnell, goodbye to A&M. That's what the song sounds like, man. Put us in the playoffs or stop scheduling marquee opponents. Arch is growing up, and I can't wait to see him next season. Kobe Black played his best game all year from Clarence Woods, 83. Agree with you, Clarence. MP Houston, this team has 3 dominating wins over top 10 teams. Put them in the playoffs. End of discussion. Look, they beat OU 23 to what? 5? What was the final score?
They beat Oklahoma.
Double-digit wins versus OU and A&M, right? Can't say they were
23-6.
23-6. 23-6. 10-point win over A&M, and they were beating Vanderbilt by 31.
I know.
21.
I know that's what, yeah, you wish you would have beat them by double digits, ended up being a 34-31 win. But you're right, Bobby. You're right.
Derek Smith working his old school SAT analogy here. Sark is to Elko what Kirby is to Sark. Outcoaches and out schemes him. That's not going to go over well in College Station, but it may be right. It may be right.
I said, Texas, you had to outplay. I mean, he had to outcoach Elko. You're going to have to do that to win. And honestly, I think he didn't do it in the first half. I think he did it in the second half. There's no question. No doubt about that. Yeah.
PK definitely, and CJ Vogle said this, PK definitely has Colin Klein's number.
Yeah.
They've scored, 17 points in 2 games now. Politically Incorrect, thank you for your super chat. We did not see a question or comment there with it. Edmund Lee, thank you, Edmund. I had Texas 38, A&M 27, double-digit win. No, it was not the final score. Still a win by double digits. Hook 'em horns. Texas 9-3. Look, there was some thought if Texas loses this game, the Longhorns would go into the offseason on a little bit of a downhill slump.
Yeah.
But what are they now? I guess they're 6-1 over the last 7 games. The only loss to the Georgia Bulldogs. 6-1 over the final games. 3 of those were top 10 wins, top 10 teams. Texas beats 62. Say what you want about Sark. Our rivals hate to see that man coming. Brent Venables and Mike Elko shake their head yes. MP Houston, in the immortal words of Ricky Bobby, I freaking love you guys. We love you guys too. Great win for the Longhorns. Juan Garza, when has there been 6-0 Texas in their rivalry games in back-to-back seasons? Has that happened? It has to have happened because they went undefeated in the regular seasons in 69 and 70. So it's had to have happened before, Juan. I don't know if it's happened more recently than 69 and 70. But if you include Arkansas in that rivalry group, Rod.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, let's get back to a little bit of the stuff. Matt, if you don't mind, please bring back up the stats. I want to go down the final stats for the game one more time, if we can. Texas outgaining Texas A&M 397 to 337. Passing yards about even, but the real big difference, and surprisingly so, Texas runs for 218 yards compared to A&M's 157. And also, I would say this, who was the more disciplined team tonight? We talked all week about Texas needing to be more disciplined. They have 1 fewer penalty. I wouldn't say either team was disciplined tonight. I mean, that face mask by Jelani McDonald was big. But the Aggies in their false starts, really big. 19 first downs for both teams. Both ended 4 of 13 on third down. But the Longhorn, and each ran 66 total plays, Rod.
Wow.
Texas just hit the big plays that A&M did not.
I think my 2 biggest factors were they had to win the explosive play margin, and you had to find a way to win the turnover margin. Won the turnover margin. I hadn't looked at it officially, but off the top of my head, I believe they won the explosive play margin too. Just kind of thinking about the big plays throughout the game. And honestly, that was the game in a nutshell. You had to get explosive. You weren't going to drive the length of the field against the Aggies. That's kind of tough. Now, I didn't know the run game would work this well, but it was really the chunk yardage plays in the run game that got you. The big Trey Wisner big run, obviously Arch with the big game-sealing touchdown. It still ended up being your explosive plays in the run game that ultimately put you over the top. So I'll give Sark a lot of credit, man. I did not expect to win the game this way. I didn't expect it. I saw them winning some way, but this is not the path to victory I saw. So I'll give the team a lot of credit. They just found a way to win it. Whatever way works, doesn't matter.
Yeah, Trey Wisner started the game, but that defensive game ball, I don't know if you give one to anybody in particular, but I might give it to Ethan Burke.
Ethan Burke definitely gets it.
Yeah, I mean, not only was he a menace at times in the backfield, but he had 2 incredible special teams plays.
Yeah.
First the blocked field goal attempt that kept A&M off the board in the first quarter on their very first drive, and then that I don't know what you call it. How do you he got his undershirt?
It was his undershirt.
Even his jersey.
Think about how strong do your hands have to be when that dude is running full speed, another grown man. He's not a child. Concepcion and you grabbed his undershirt and held on for dear life and essentially pulled him back. Otherwise, he gets another 20 yards potentially after that. That was a great play, man.
By the way, Concepcion is by far A&M's best player.
He's a hell of a player.
Yeah, he is. Yes, Alfio. Hey, good to hear from you, big guy. Alfio Vizi says this was Ethan Burke draft film. Absolutely, big fella. I agree with you as well. I thought KC Concepcion was the best Aggie player by far. Like not even close. Not the quarterback, not the running back. None of the Concepcion for his size is impressively strong. He runs through arm tackles, which is really rare, and then he's got that tremendous speed all around. But look, Longhorns win it. A couple of big plays by the offense in particular. That Arch Manning touchdown run, the throw from Manning to Ryan Wingo. As much as people have beaten up Ryan Wingo for his hands or lack thereof at times this year, people pretty happy with what he did tonight on that big catch down at the goal line, tiptoeing a little bit in the back of the end zone, but catching it cleanly. That really started Texas on the way back, I thought, in this game. And then they just utterly dominated. I mean, look at the final score, 27-17. Texas beat A&M, the number 3 team in the country, 24-7 in the second half.
That's crazy.
24-7 in the second half.
We did that against the Sooners, kind of like that too, right? They probably dominate the second half. Man, the game's tied at halftime, and then they just run away with it in the second half. So give them credit. We're talking about both of those teams because those were rivals and top-ranked teams when you played them. And Texas was able to win the second half, win the battle of adjustments too. So you won the coaching advantage there, and the players ended up out-executing their opponent.
Look at the difference in the first half and the second half between Arch Manning's passing. First half, they had Arch 8 of 23. Actually, Arch was 7 of 22 because Ryan Wingo threw an incomplete pass, correct?
That's right. You're right.
And then in the second half, Arch was 6 of 8, 128. Maybe the problem is he was dropping back to throw every single time in the first half, guys.
Yeah, that might have been it too. That's unbelievable. I mean,
wow. You got to have a run game, and Texas produced a run game tonight behind the offensive line of the Longhorns. Hats off, by the way, to the guys that walked tonight, not just the whole team, but I wanted to say in particular Cole Hudson, Connor Robertson, and DJ Campbell. All three of those guys played really well tonight. Clearly, that one run that Arch had for the touchdown, he basically followed Cole Hudson's butt up the middle for the score. So it's big stuff all over there. Average yards per play in the second half for Texas. How about that number, Rod? 9.5 average yards per play. That's all gas, no brakes.
It's all run game, right? Because it was a big part of it was because what are you 7 yards per rush in the second half, less than 5 yards per rush in the first half, and you were still running the ball pretty well. You just weren't doing it enough. But then once you became a real balanced offense, it opened up the passing game. Like to your point, that's when Arch became really efficient in the passing game, and you got a couple of chunky yards plays in the passing game too. So it really was great adjustments. I mean, I can't wait to go back and watch and see exactly what worked for them in the run game and to see if that's kind of what they stuck with. But you got to give the players and the coaches a ton of credit, man. No doubt.
You really do. I mean, this was a team win. It wasn't – while Trey Wisner certainly was a star, Ethan Burke was. It was a team win. They all had to step up. They had numerous injuries again in the secondary. They had to play without Ty Anthony Smith as well as Anthony Hill for the entire game. And this Longhorn team still comes out victorious 27-17 over the formerly number 3 ranked Texas A&M Aggies. They're going to drop. And by the way, Texas A&M has now been in the SEC for 15 years? and they still haven't made it to the SEC title game. I'm sorry about that, Aggies. I know we had to do it to you, but it's okay. You'll be all right. You'll get there one day, I think. Maybe it'll be 2039 and it'll be a whole century. All right, Todd Lacey. Great team win, dominant second half. Have a feeling Texas is going to sneak in the college football playoffs. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. I just do too much upside for a young, talented Texas team to be a playoff team. Thoughts? I do think they're young, and I will tell you this much. People can say Arch Manning has a bad half and he's not playing well and all that stuff. They need to keep with him because the young buck can play.
He can play.
He may have off halves. He may have off quarters. He may do a bunch of different stuff. He sat back there. How many shots did he take at the end of the first half, Rod?
Yeah.
I mean, literal big-time shots and still try to get the ball thrown away. Yeah. This team will go far with Arch Manning, in my opinion, at this point. I can't wait to hear Aggies fans, but say Reed wasn't 100%. That's from KD35. I'm the best. Let him talk, baby. Let him talk. We didn't have Anthony Hill. You know, give me a break.
How many DBs you said went down in the game?
Yeah, in the second, with 2 minutes left to go in the first half.
Yeah,
Grayson Littleton and Jelani McDonald. Yeah, I agree. Jonathan Forster, let's go. Sark, ATX, and the D delivered in the second half. We might not make the playoffs, but beating OU and A&M is satisfying. Those last two interceptions were amazing. Hook 'em. Man, it looked like the crowd exploded on both of those. And I was watching on TV, obviously, Rod. It looked, if anybody was in the stadium and is watching right now, it literally looked and felt like the stadium absolutely exploded on those. Yeah. It really did. This one from Shay, baby. Rod, aren't you glad you were wrong? Beautiful game, baby. Rod picked Longhorns.
Longhorns. I didn't pick the Aggies. I think we only had two members of the OTF staff pick the Aggies, right? That was CJ. Was it Tony Hills?
Yep, CJ and Tony. And Tony already apologized. We'll get CJ's apology momentarily.
I picked the Longhorns because first of all, I said it's really tough to go undefeated. You're gonna slip up somewhere, and hell, this is the most likely place for the Aggies to slip up. And I like the mojo. Texas was playing at home. Arch is playing really well. Turns out he played really well in the second half. And I said Texas didn't have a lot of ways to win it because the Aggies had a lot of advantages. But if Sark can outcoach Elko and Arch can outplay Marcel Reed, which I think both of those things happen, and you can win the turnover margin, explosive play margin, you win the game. That was my path. And Texas, they did that. So I picked the Longhorns because I felt good about it. They're little brother. I don't say that disrespectfully, but there's some kind of weird voodoo advantages in sports. And y'all have seen them all time and time again, whether it be in divisions. And so it's like, why does this team always beat that team? Why does this team have an advantage over this team, that organization? It just does. And that is the case for Texas A&M. Like Texas has a built-in just big brother advantage over A&M. They know it. It's unfortunate. They're a better team this year. I said that, and I still say that they are, but not today. Not today, and that's why I picked the Longhorns. Good.
I might pick Texas again next week if they played again, though. They may not have been. And it's not just for that because we talked about this morning, Rod, or this afternoon. Excuse me. What's different between this Texas A&M, the Texas team that played tonight and played last year, the same Aggie team? The only thing that's added with Aggies are two wide receivers.
The wide receivers.
Nothing else was different about this Aggie team, in my opinion.
Yeah. That
was it. And so if Texas looked at it that way, I thought Texas had a chance to win. And they kept those wide receivers in check for the most part. Zane Petty, Rod B. Kobe Black looked like John A. on that pick. He sure did. Thomas Menifee. Aggies still have not made the SEC title. You want to say something about that Kobe Black pick, Rod B?
Well, I just say I love the youth movement that's happening in the secondary. And some of it is because of circumstance, guys going down, whatever. And some of it is because, like Cade Phillips, they say, hey, man, we're going with the young buck. He's making plays. Grayson Littleton is just a phenom and a prodigy. But the secondary now, all of a sudden, if Kobe Black continues to get some playing time and plays well, the future looks bright in the secondary. I mean, it really does. I know they struggled at the end of the season, and they're potentially going to lose a lot with a lot of guys leaving. But those young bucks, man, Grayson Littleton, they have like two freshmen get starting in your secondary, and then other young guys getting playing time. I think they're going to be all right in the secondary going forward. Yeah.
I want to go back and say thanks again to Jonathan Forrester. I didn't realize how large that super chat is. Thank you so much, Jonathan. We appreciate it very, very much as well. This one from Justin Yarbrough, a good friend of ours. Great game tonight, Hookem. The season didn't go the way we wanted necessarily, but it's not over. And what other team played 5 top 10 teams that's over 500?
That's a good point.
Just played 5 top 10 teams. Is that right?
Well, Ohio State, 3-2, A&M, Oklahoma, Georgia. Yeah. 5.
Yeah, went 3-2 against 5 top 10 teams. Good point, Justin. Rod, I predicted Aggie would win this too. I'll gladly eat crow with you. Rod did not, though, Shay.
Why did I pick the Aggies?
Because you were thinking about it at one time. You were thinking about it.
I said they were a better team. That's all. I still picked the Longhorns.
All right, Nick Pearson. Our boys wanted it more in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big statement. But I knew that 11-0 record was misleading. We faced better competition with our schedule. You know what, Nick? I think you might be right. I think Texas did think Texas looked like they wanted it more. A&M looked a little bit like they were going through the motions and a little shocked, actually, that they were getting tested the way they were in that third quarter in particular. What do you think, Rod?
Yeah, I think it happened. One of the other advantages that we discussed and I talked about why I was picking Texas was because Texas is more battle tested. I mean, they were going into the game. They just going to Ohio State, having to play at Georgia. Of course, Texas OU always, and then Vanderbilt coming in. Texas, they were the more battle tested team. The Aggies had proven, that they were a better team overall because they were an undefeated record, unblemished. But Texas was more battle tested, and that happened when Texas played Florida. We talked about how that was an underestimated factor in the game, was that Florida came in, but they had already played 3 ranked teams or something like that. And Texas had came off playing 3 straight cupcakes in a row after the Ohio State game, and Texas got punched in the mouth and really didn't know how to respond. And half of playing these types of games, when you play games like this, when you go play games in the playoffs against other elite teams, just like playing in the NFL, and that's every week in the NFL, or maybe it's the SEC these days, you're going to face adversity. You're going to get punched in the mouth. Like, you may end up down in the game. You may end up, maybe a major injury in the game, whatever. There will be adversity or somebody. And you got to figure out, all right, we got punched in the mouth. How are we going to respond as a team? And Texas done a really good job of that in these second halves versus the rivals like Oklahoma and A&M. They did not do that versus Florida. They got punched in the mouth and then were really like, we don't know what to do. And they just kept getting punched in the face. And at one point, you say, you're going to got to punch back. And I think that's what this team has learned how to do, is punch back. And they've done it really, really well. Even Mississippi State, I mean, we didn't like that Texas was down to a team that's that bad, but what they learn how to do, we get punched, that's okay, we're going to punch back. And I like the fight in the team, number one. And I think that's something that they learned probably on that long road trip they had, pretty much. Learn how to fight.
Kind of galvanized the team a little bit, you think?
Yeah, learn how to fight when they on that trip they did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had to come back against Mississippi State in that fourth quarter. Yep. Hang on against Kentucky. A lot of it. Juan Garza. This as good as this A&M offense has been this year. Could this be cause for people in Aggie land to be upset with their play caller? Colin Klein, the Aggie offensive coordinator, is now 0-9 against Texas as a play caller at both K-State and A&M.
Damn, is that real? Woo. That's crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Wow.
McCluskey here. Believe UT becomes only team with 2 wins over top 12 the top 12 teams in week 14 college football playoff rankings. Indiana, A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, OU, Bama, Miami, all of them only have one. Ohio State, Oregon, BYU, Notre Dame have 0. And plus we have the Vandy win that was a top 10 win at the time. Good stuff. Thank you for that, McCluskey. How can we not make the playoffs with 3 top wins? Cody Golightly asks. That's going to be a question that the committee's going to have to ask themselves. I mean, Texas go ahead of an OU team that didn't play Ohio State. Should Texas go ahead of a Vanderbilt team that they beat?
Man, they had to set a precedent because
just tell you, if they don't want Texas to play Ohio State, if they don't want Texas to play Notre Dame, if they don't want Texas to play Michigan in the preseason and get all these big rankings and ratings and make money for the rest of college football, then tell us not to play the game. That's what I would say. Tell us not to play the game. All right, let's go on here a little bit. DMX, Kobe, heard there were some undercover recruits at the game. Jamarian Carlton was there, we believe. There were a couple other 2027 guys, or several other 2027 recruits. At one point, we thought Malachi Lee might be at the game, the big offensive lineman out of Hawaii. He was not there. We changed that reporting. We will see if there are more. I'll ask CJ who he saw there as well when he comes on. BTA belt to the Ags again from Guy. So true there, Guy. Also, Nathan, look at Rod. Nathan Wilkes, impossible. They keep us out of non-conference. If they keep us out, non-conference games will disappear. What are your thoughts on that, Rod?
I will say
it's really going to come down to as little or as much as losing to Ohio State 14-7.
If it does, if they do keep Texas out, I do believe it'll incentivize programs, big time blue blood programs, to take fewer chances in the non-con. Like why would you then? Why? I mean, what's the incentive to schedule other than it's great for the fans, other than great fan experience, so they can go on, go to Ohio State and go to Georgia, all these great places. Other than the fan experience, it's hard to justify it if they're going to keep Texas out for a 14-7 loss pretty much to Ohio State. Or a lot of people say, hey, the reason you're getting kept out is because you lost to Florida. It ain't the Ohio State loss. It's the Florida loss. Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. If they would have scheduled Virginia Tech, Texas would be in right now. If they would have scheduled Oklahoma twice, Texas would be in right now.
That's fair. I look at it differently because I'm a player. I look at it as should have lost to Florida.
Yeah, I get it.
You're right. There's no incentive to schedule that game other than fan experience. Other than that, if Texas doesn't get in, there's no reason for you to be scheduling those big time, sexy non-conference power, big time power matchups. There's no reason for it.
Texas should have played Oregon State, I guess. Right? Yeah. Texas should have played Oregon State, or I don't know, Oklahoma State, or Colorado State instead of Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think that's chicken. If we miss the playoffs, would you cancel the Ohio State game next year with the 9 game? I would not, Daryl Rediker. I don't. Yes. Don't. And by the way, the Aggie that accused Texas of being cowards, he's getting on a bus back to College Station tonight with his head in his hands because he just lost to a bunch of cowards, I guess. Who was the offensive lineman that said that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wisner. Oh, this is good. Quentin Smith. Wisner is some serious Aggie kryptonite, without question. Without question.
Dude.
All right. Legend. All right. We've now got Steve Sarkeesian here in the post-game pressure. Let's hear it from our producer, Matt.
Chew on that for a second. There's been a lot of great football teams that have played over the last 6 years, but we're the first team since LSU to be 3 top 10 ranked teams in the same season during the regular season. Okay? I think we have the number 5 ranked toughest schedule in the country. We played the number 1, the number 3, and number 4 ranked teams in the country. Okay, we went on the road to Ohio State in week 1 and lost to them on the one-score game. We have the ball at the end of the game. We outgained them by nearly 200 yards, and no one else has been close to a one-score game against them. But I think more importantly, it's the message that what do we want to send to the head coaches and the athletic directors around the country? Do you want us not to schedule Ohio State? Because if we're a 10-2 team right now, this isn't a discussion. We're in the playoff. But we were willing to go up there and play that game. And so now, when you play 5 top 10 ranked teams in the regular season, and you go 3-2, you beat 3 of them, and you schedule Ohio State out of conference play, I surely don't think we want to punish us to do that. Because what are we all going to do? We're all going to get out of those games. Just like a lot of other teams in the country have done. And they've got nice, pretty records right now. But they weren't willing to go play these games out of conference. We're willing to go play those games. I just hope we don't get punished for doing that. And this whole idea that, hey, well, you lost to Florida. Well, the team that played for the national championship last year lost to Northern Illinois at home. So we're not going to punish us, and you don't want to punish them, but yet they were good enough to go play for a national title. So I have no doubt in my mind that the team we have in that locker room downstairs is a playoff football team and worthy of an opportunity to play for a national championship.
Woo!
Work
There
it.
you go, Coach.
Work it.
He said that with some conviction, Rod. Did he not?
No, yeah, he had to. You got to go now. You have to go advocate for your team. Now, this is what you do as a coach. I'm gonna need you to state the case publicly and state your case as to why your team is worthy of being a playoff team. And he made, I thought, a very compelling one, very compelling case. So we'll see what the committee's got to say. I think if there is an exception and they're gonna let a 9-3 team in, Texas is as sexy as it gets. You don't get sexier 9-3 than what Texas has right now. You don't. You got Arch, but you got 3 top 10 wins on that schedule too. They're ending the season on a high, trending in the right direction. So we'll see if this committee is gonna let one in. This is gonna be it. This is Texas is the team. But who they kick out is the question, because they're going to have to do somebody dirty if they letting Texas in. And
let's see how the games go tomorrow.
That's fair.
Let's see how the games go tomorrow. And then let's see what happens in the Big 12 title game if it's BYU versus Texas Tech and Texas Tech beats them by 20 points again. E. Padilla, how about Jack Injuries? Showed some moves and run Manning more. Dude's got wheels. Jack Injuries had multiple good catches, had 4 for 93 yards, ended up being the leader receiver in yardage for the Longhorns tonight. Absolutely. That one stiff arm in the open field, Aggies should have had him down at the 25, went for the ball punch. He got down to the 2 to end the third quarter, Rod B. In the very next play, Nick Townsend scores a touchdown.
Tight ends.
Big time. Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So congrats to Jack Injuries. And run Manning more. I don't think you can run him all that much and still have him standing upright. I mean, he's been knocked around a little bit this year, but man, he did run away from some DBs in that Aggie secondary. Did he not, Rod?
Yeah. It's like that Colt McCoy. When Colt McCoy ran away from the Aggie secondary, it's like, oh man, happened again. That was a hell of a play call by Sark, though. And by the way, somebody in the chat doing the in-game live watch literally said, "Hey, this would be a great time for QB run game," and it was the perfect call. So that was a hell of a play call by Sark too.
All right. We'll have, I want to say this, we'll have CJ Vogle here join us a little bit. We might have some more from Steve Sarkeesian if Matt can get it for us. Flight is the next generation of light beer. I want to tell you all about them before we go on to the next questions. With only 95 calories, it's an easy drinking upscale light beer designed to elevate your taste buds with just 2.6 carbs per serving. Flight is an easy to drink beer with a clean, crisp taste. Try Flight from Yuengling, thanks to the fine folks at Flight and our friends at Faust Distributing. All right, Rod Baber's helmet. This is the new name here. Was Ty coming back the difference, or did the D figure something out? Also, Rod, get me off the shelf and in the spotlight for those Longhorn faithful. Rod's ready to put on the helmet right now, guys. He doesn't need a big super chat to do that. This one got him fired a little bit.
Thank you. Appreciate that, brother.
Hey, was Anthony Smith the difference? Or, hey, look, the Aggies only scored 10 in the first half, 7 in the second.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say it's the difference because I like the game plan that Texas had from the start. I thought it was a sound game plan from PK. Like I said, they never got in a groove and a rhythm offensively. Even right that early score, it was a result. They had the big punt return early on to get them in good field position. So I thought Texas actually, the game plan for PK was a sound game plan early on. Definitely helped getting Anthony Smith back. But Trey Moore and that Brad Spence, I think, was getting some reps. I thought they did a good job because if I'm the Aggies, I want to attack those guys on the second level early on. And I didn't necessarily see them being a weakness or a liability. I mean, I got to go back and watch the film, but I didn't think so.
Yeah, I felt like I don't know that it was Leonga Lafau versus Anthony Smith. Actually, I think it may have given Texas a different look for the Aggies to try to figure out.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
If that makes sense to you, it felt like Anthony Smith posed a different set of circumstances than Leonga Lafau.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe good question. How's that win affect our playoff hopes? We've been discussing that 69er. Y'all see Burke vomiting on the sideline in the fourth. He's built different. I did not see it, but Matt's saying yes, it did indeed happen. Our producer in the background.
He gave everything he had out there on that field, and you know what? That's why he's mine. I'm sure Bobby's defensive player of the game. Like he gave it all. You could tell.
He really did. Yeah, and two big, huge special teams. Huge. Absolutely.
Could have changed the game kind of plays. Yeah.
Yes, no doubt. Q-Dog 99. Awesome for number 16. Walk on. This is Mookie. This is a Michael Taft. I got to say this. I also got a text just a minute ago from one of Michael Taft's, his parents' friends, the Helms, Gunnar Helm.
Nice.
And he said LFG is watching. Great win for the Longhorns to end his regular season college career. Q-Dog for Michael Taft with a game-changing interception. Taft ended strong. I want to tell y'all, get texts like that. It shows me how tight-knit the parents are of the team. Rod, they're all rooting for each other, even though they've been gone for a year. You know what I mean? I think that's a good feeling. But in all seriousness, the big interception for Michael Taft, no doubt about it. Big time play. Kip Chaffee with the super chat. Thank you, Kip. I did not see a note attached. Sark said, "Stop asking him to hire an OC." There were people asking for it in the first half. Rod Davis probably included, Gary Hamilton, Aaron Hogan, Bob Shipley, maybe even Jeff Howe. Everybody was asking for it in the first half, I bet.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that? What do you think of that? I mean, he kind of poked around and found something there in that second half, though.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he started playing the hits, right? Doing things that worked for him in the second half. And we know Sark usually, if he is trying to lean on his creativity and innovation as a play caller, usually that leans toward the pass. So he's almost fighting his own demons when he's like, nah, we're going to just run the football. All right. And I think for Sark, he put his ego to the side and give him props because he said during the week, it was like, hey, are you going to stick with the run, in this game versus he's like, we're going to do whatever it takes to win. That's literally what he said. It's like, whatever it takes to win. Turns out he was sticking with the run. Turns out the irony is that was the winning game plan, was sticking with the run, and Sark did it. If he didn't and still tried to, lead with Arch in the passing game, Texas probably would have lost that game. I mean, but the run game opened everything else up and complemented the defense really well. It almost worked in a very complimentary way too. So that was like I said, it's great to me to end that way, considering your running game has been struggling all season long. And that's been one of the big issues. This has been the worst rushing offense for Sark in his time as a play caller, head coach in his career. And you end the season against the undefeated Aggies by running for over 200. Well done, brother. Well done. Well done, my man. Talk about wowing us in the end. Nobody saw that. We never saw that coming. I love it. That's beautiful.
Karek Nagabna. important. We remember what Longhorns have in common with Aggies. We all applied to UT. It's probably some truth to that. Billy Woods, the 2 interceptions, the run game, and halftime adjustments were fantabulous. We should make the playoffs. Hook them.
I agree.
The run game made Arch such a better quarterback too. Such a better. I mean, can you imagine Arch Manning with a good pass protecting offensive line and a run game in Sark's offense? I mean,
scary.
That the way he's able to throw the ball downfield. Congrats. As far as the 2 interceptions, I thought those were huge, big plays. The first one, I thought Marcel Reed was a little hurried because of pressure. I did not see who got that pressure. Did you see that on the interception and tap? I don't know if it was Simmons or one of the defense. I'll have to go back and look at it.
It was likely Simmons because he was a beat. I think he had 3 hurries and 1 sack, and
he was
all night too. He was great. He was awesome.
Yeah. Billy Woods, Cassius Howell for A&M was on the back of the milk carton. He was missing in action today.
I gotta see the stat line. I don't even know what his stat line is. That's a great point.
Yeah, John Rafferty, thank you. OTF was at the game, and the student section brought it. It was very, very loud. Great experience, and the team really did seem to feed off of the student section energy. I think that's great to hear. Look, one of the things that when Texas lost this Texas A&M game in 2012, Rod? I can't even remember now. And that game went off the schedule. I would go back for the games on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever day it was, right, that Texas was playing. And I'm telling you, it was noticeably different how many students were in the stands for that day after Thanksgiving. Whereas when I was in school and when I was in school, Texas wasn't even always that good against A&M.
Yeah.
You know, A&M was but the student, the whole stadium would be rocking. That's what's supposed to happen on the day after Thanksgiving. You're supposed to that's what we got back by going to the SEC. We kept the OU game the whole time. Great. Unbelievable atmosphere. But the day after Thanksgiving, we're supposed to break bread and watch a little football. That means something to different people. So, John, I agree with you. Student section definitely had energy. I think I counted 4 false starts, and then I stopped counting, and then I know they got an offsides as well. That offsides, by the way, allowed Arch to run a QB draw on 3rd and 5 as opposed to 3rd and 10. 3rd and 4 instead of 3rd and 9 because they were already in field goal range. Why not? James McKinney. Oh, wow. Big one. Thank you, James, very much. I appreciate all your work and team coverage this season. It's been a wild one, but I love the growth. Wins over OU, Archie, and Aggie, LFG, youth movement, indeed. James, thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate you and you joining us here. Jace Robinson, thank you as well for your super chat. F1 Revolution. On the first play after the A&M fourth quarter score, Arch avoided a rush, stepped up, and threw. He dropped it in the basket.
Yeah.
And that was a big-time play from QB1. That's what he did today that Marcel Reed did not. Who was the better quarterback, in your opinion, today? Not the one that they were claiming was going to win the Heisman a week or 2 ago.
I'm biased here. I'm going to say Arch is a better quarterback, but I feel like I need to go back and watch it, and I would admit that I'm biased, and they won the game, but I think Arch is the better quarterback. And so, like I said, that had to be the case. I don't think Texas could win the game if Arch wasn't the better quarterback.
Hey, let me ask you this. Bama lost to FSU. Dustin Anderson says, what's a worse loss, FSU or Florida? I'm just saying.
Yeah, they're both really bad.
Katie Riley says I think all of our cupcakes hurt us too. I agree with you. Theo Redfro says Bama lost to FSU. Tired of hearing about Florida. I agree. I mean, this is what we're talking about. Sark's postgame talks have annoyed our fan base, but they haven't been for us. They're to the College Football Playoff Committee. I will say this. He hasn't annoyed me. I mean, I know some people don't like his answers when it talks about the run game historically over the last, or the play calling. But I think today or tonight, what we heard just a few minutes ago from Matt behind the scenes there was absolutely, Katie, to your point, to the college football playoff committee. And that's who he needs to be speaking to.
He's right. Yeah. He's a politician right now. You got that's a political thing. Yeah. State your case.
All right. JS Hooper says we need to weaponize that burnt orange media conspiracy that the Aggies cry about. Give the ESPN talking heads the talking points. Sark needs to go Mac mode.
He's right.
Trying.
Yeah, he is. That was a nice little rant there. That was he stated he put stats out there for you and everything because he understands that's what the committee wants. I think he made a strong case. He's got to keep doing it though, and he needs, like you said, others to start making that case too around the country. And I think they will because everybody loves Arch and everybody wants to see more Arch. I think Arch is why people are going to make the case.
Here's what else they want. They want to see good football in September and August.
Yeah, agree.
If they don't, they're not going to see good football teams in August and September.
Just cupcakes.
It's going to be San Jose State.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, look. Anyways. Travis Johnson. Enjoyed the post games all year. Great job. Thank you very much, Travis. We appreciate you very much. Hopefully we have a couple more. Yes, a couple more. I like that. I like that thinking. Not just one more, but a couple more for this season. Codes are 7.
Oh.
The world needed to shut down the Axis powers. 1939, Rod. They still couldn't beat Texas. I
love it. No, I tell you that. It's especially satisfying because the Aggies, and they still think they're on their way to having this historic season. But no matter what happens this season for the Aggies, you're still going to be able to be like, well, still couldn't beat Big Brother. Still couldn't do it. There's still a psychological edge Texas has on the Aggies. But that was an amazing win, though. Is that the most satisfying win of the season? It is.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Close, right?
Yeah. That's more satisfying than the OU game. Although, man, that's a good question. I actually, this was more satisfying because OU, you knew OU was a little bit injured there at the quarterback. That Texas should have beaten them, I thought. A&M came in on their high horse 11-0. It's the best win. It's the funnest win of the season. There's no doubt about it.
There's a certain satisfaction. Yep, I'm with you.
A certain satisfaction. What does the chat think about that? Y'all agree with us?
It's got to be. It's got to be because Oklahoma. Yeah, I feel like it's better than Oklahoma one right now. They were undefeated Aggie. Come on, man.
This late in the season too.
Aggie tears. Nothing better than that.
Arch is playing. Tell you what, doubt that kid at your own peril. James McKinney, Wingo TD, the ball skills we've been waiting on. You know what? Tremendous catch at the back of the end zone by him. He's had some issues this year. He would probably tell you that himself. At the same time, he came up big on that play for the Longhorns. Aggies blew some coverage, I thought, tonight. Rod, I really thought they did. All right, let's go to CJ Vogle. Now he is down on the field at DKR. CJ, you were wrong about your prediction. The Texas Longhorns prevail. Victorious 27-17. What'd you see there at DKR tonight? How was the crowd, first of all?
Well, Bobby, I know I'm wrong. Steve Sarkeesian knows I'm wrong, and the whole Texas football team knows I'm wrong. Sark made sure to call me out. He said, Sark, we saw you. He said, CJ, we saw your prediction. The whole team saw your prediction. We know all about what you expected tonight, and that was before I even got my question in. So look, it's fun. I probably deserved. I said Texas would lose by 7, 38-31. Look, what a game. What a second half. I was thoroughly impressed. And this is where Sark's growing as a play caller, right? You can never not continue to move in the right direction. This game looked exactly like the Georgia game in the first half. It just did. Texas struggling to move the ball through the air. The interior pass protection was very poor. But you found success when the run game, you just didn't call it all too often. And then, boom, first play of the second half, you go for 48. Longest run of the year by a Texas running back. Sark stuck with it. And, of course, Trey Wisner did what he does to Texas A&M. 155 big ones on the ground. What a game for Texas. What a statement for Steve Sarkeesian and his football team.
It really was tonight. Trey Wisner, Arch Manning, tale of two halves for him as well. But the Texas defense held Colin Klein's offense to just 17 points. What did you think about the defense, and what did Sark have to say about that side of the ball?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. And I know two truths in life, Bobby. I tweeted this out. It's Trey Wisner is going to run all over Texas A&M, and Pete Kwiatkowski is going to stop Colin Klein's offense. And what is that? 2 total touchdowns offensively over the last 2 years for Texas A&M. Look, they've had talented teams. They've had good offensive lines, and it just doesn't matter. PK and his defense find ways to stay one step ahead. I thought that run in the third quarter where it just was quick stop after quick stop after quick stop, that was fantastic. Look, even if the pass rush wasn't really getting home, and there were some moments there, there's actually quite a quote from Colin Simmons I will be posting here in a minute. Matthew, if you want to go get his most recent one, I would like to get you guys' thoughts on that as well. But no, they had the seemingly right answer the entire game, even with basically a full carousel of cornerbacks needing to be deployed due to an injury to Cade Phillips, and also some dinged up moments for Manny Muhammad and Jalen Gilbo. Texas played 5 cornerbacks tonight, the most that we've seen this year.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like they missed a beat, really. That was really impressive for me.
Yeah, it was. Go ahead, Rod. Sorry about that, buddy.
Well, I just want to ask you, CJ, about your favorite play call from Sark in the second half, because I think I might know what it is, because when Sark got cooking, what was your favorite play call from him in the second half?
I hope this is the one you're referencing, but when they got down on the goal line right behind me right here, it was the quick little jet sweep to Nick Townsend. Yeah, you know, I think that was the first or second touch of his season, of his career. And I was sitting in the box earlier, and I remember sitting there saying, "Oh, Nick Townsend's in. You know exactly what's about to happen. It's about to be an inside zone with him cracking the backside guy." And that's exactly what happened. I thought it was a very predictable move, but the little wrinkle, you see him come in motion, you're expecting to run the opposite way, and sure enough, he ends up with the ball, walk-in touchdown. I thought it was a beautiful wrinkle on the goal line, and that's, again, how he's continuing to evolve there as a head coach and play caller.
They've been much better in red zone this year, no doubt about it. And you could say a number of different reasons for that. What'd you have, CJ?
I teased it a little bit. I teased a little bit. There is a little bit of a quote here from Colin Simmons. Look, before Matthew, you hit play here. I asked Colin Simmons, I said, "Hey, it felt like you were getting held quite a bit." And he said, "Brother, I know." He quote tweeted on Instagram or on Twitter as well. But more than that, he was asked a little bit about Armaj Reed Adams' comments about Texas being cowards for stomping on Texas A&M's logo last year. And boy, did he have a response for the A&M offensive lineman.
You talking about when 55 said that? Yeah. What's his name? I don't even know his name. He's a 6-year. But what did you say?
Do you guys take issue with that, or is that to smack talk, or what you guys?
Yeah. He lost. He's a loser. So, I mean, it's nothing we don't pay attention to,
Colin, was it?
He's a loser.
That's what these rivalry games mean, And I asked a couple guys, even Arch, I asked Trevor Gooseby what the locker room celebrations were like. Trevor Gooseby said he was doing dance moves out there that no one 6'7", 320 pounds should ever be trying. Arch said it was a hell of a time in there as well. But look, that's the difference between winning this game and losing this game. 1, your playoff hopes stay alive. 2, you get bragging rights once again. But that Texas locker room, very exciting. Colin Simmons specifically, after last year's game that we saw as well. Emotions run high in this one. Texas coming out on the right side.
What did you think of the crowd tonight? It seemed to play a real factor in this game. CJ, we've talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. This was the loudest I've ever seen DKR. And I've seen bits and pieces, right? But that second half was absolutely fantastic out here, right? You go back to the Makuba interception against Georgia a year ago, the blocked field goal against USC, some big-time moments and, big marquee games. The second half didn't, it wasn't quiet at any moment in that second half, and it was fantastic. I think specifically you could point to the 4th and 1. There was another short distance situation where A&M committed a couple false starts, backed them up, then had the punt, and Texas was able to build on that. That was the best atmosphere, best single game atmosphere I've ever seen at DKR.
Oh wow,
Man.
that's
Oh,
those are large words, CJ. Hey,
Yeah.
CJ, did Sark say anything about the run game for the Longhorns and what he saw that got them cracking on that a little bit?
Yeah, he said he kind of went back to last year's playbook. He said, it felt like we had some success in the outside zone. He didn't get enough looks in the first half, and that kind of, again, goes back to what I was feeling about that replay of the Georgia game. But he said, look, once we got it rolling, we felt exactly like we knew what we could do, and you saw that. There was an orbit motion to clear out the boundary side. Texas would just run outside zone into it, and I think on 2 carries they had 60 yards. So they found what was working, and look, even if it lost a yard or only gained 1, Sark stuck with it. I got to give him a lot of credit for that. But he said, look, we were finding ways to displace bodies, and Trey Wisner just doing what he does, running patiently, running aggressively, just slithering through lines. I think that's the best way I could describe him. He called him a warrior after the game, and I don't know how anybody watches that game and disagrees with that adjective to describe his play.
Rod, you have anything else before we let CJ go tonight?
No, man. Well, one more thing. Let me ask you this about, you said the young DBs got in there, and guys, did Sark say anything about the young DBs getting there and playing? I thought they did a good job going up against Concepcion and Craver.
I thought they did a fantastic job, and even with Cade Phillips, getting dinged up with the left foot, it looked like, Warren Roberson coming in, making a couple plays. Kobe Black ball hunting. Rod, you talked about it. Texas doesn't have many guys that make plays on the football. He made 2 in a row, one of them obviously being the interception. Bobby, I hope you saw where he put that A&M football, by the way. For folks who didn't, that went right into Bevo's bucket. They made sure to slam dunk it into Bevo's you-know-what bucket. So
we did not see that. We did not see that.
I'm sure the TVs made sure to keep that out of there, but he did indeed dunk that right into the splash bucket out there. It was a funny moment there. But Rod, to your point, I thought they played fantastic. And I'm sure one last thing from me, I'm sure y'all have talked about Sark's statement about the playoff. He feels rather emphatically that this is a playoff team. You go 3-2 against top 10 teams this year, the first team since LSU in 2019 to beat 3 top 10 teams. Sark believes this is a playoff team. I asked Arch Manning, or Arch was asked, whether or not this was a playoff team as well. He said, look, we're playing some great football. We beat some great teams. We're moving in the right direction. Tonight is no different. I'd love to get a crack at it. So we'll see what the committee decides after plenty of football tomorrow afternoon.
Nice. CJ, thank you. Look forward to hearing from you more tomorrow. Look forward to reading your stuff later tonight on All Texas Football. Hook 'em, buddy.
Welcome. Y'all have a good evening.
Good stuff. CJ Vogle reporting from the sideline there, or from the field at DKR. CJ Vogle, by the way, coming into his own, in my opinion, as a young reporter covering the Texas Longhorns, the Longhorn grad as well. Good guy. All right, back to the chat line real quick. We're going to go to Wooderson. Aloha Horns. The pregame lays worked. The Hawaiian spirits were on our side. Mahalo. I saw a few of those out there pregame, along with those Sark suit and everybody else's suit. Jet Li, if it wasn't for a face mask, A&M doesn't even score in the second half at all, and we win by 17, not 10. Should have been 27-10 win over A&M. Maybe so, but I'll tell you what, Jet Li, I'll take 27-17. Because as Colin Simmons said, when you go to the water cooler with the people you work with on Monday, they're going to be losers and you're going to be a winner. Let's put it that way. How about Colin Simmons? What did you think of that, Rod?
Then the 6th year as an insult. He's year 6, right? I was like, oh, wow. That was a nice little jab. That would hurt more, I think, that he's year 6, right? Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. Ibrahim says, good win and hook 'em. Thanks, Ibrahim. This one from Billy Woods. To beat an undefeated team that's ranked 3rd in the country by double digits at home and last regular season win is the best. I think we all agree. I do think this was
is this Sark's best win, second best win behind the Bama win?
Maybe. I thought I think he's done a good job against OU overall. I don't know. Maybe his second best win. Number 3 ranked team in the country.
That's what I'm saying. His top 5 record hadn't been great. I think he's been like 1-7 versus top 5 teams, and Bama was that, I believe, that only win.
You know what, too? they dominated the second half like they did against Bama too.
Yeah, you choked this team out. Like it ain't like it was like a photo finish down to the wire. It's like, no, you beat the hell out of them. And then people like saying you should have beat them by more.
Yeah. Good stuff from the Longhorns tonight. Matt, before we go, do me a favor and put the stats up one last time. 27-17 victory for your Texas Longhorns tonight. Just a big time effort. Full team effort. It felt like at first the offense wasn't going to show up and it was going to be a defensive struggle. CJ said it felt like the Georgia game redux. I agree with him. It really did. But then the second half happened. Trey Wisner came to play. Arch Manning came to play. The Texas defense kept its foot on the gas. Jack injuries showed up as well. The tight end had a big night. And Texas wins 27-17. Your final thoughts, Rod B., on this game?
I love what Jerry said earlier before the game about unlikely heroes, and maybe we should have included Trey Wisner as a likely hero, considering what he had done against the Aggies last season and against the Oklahoma Sooners earlier in the season. But Jack injury stepping up to be your leading receiver, unlikely hero. Ethan Burke, even though he's been having a hell of a season, his best season so far. I mean, those two big plays he made on special teams outside of the plays on defense. I mean, that was an unlikely hero stepping up. Kobe Black in the interception, one of the kind of unlikely heroes. I just think that theme stood out to me because I do think you had some guys step up and make some big plays for you. And you had to that we just didn't anticipate. And so I'll give props. Trey Wisner's a legend. And I think for Sark, I'll give him a ton of credit because it didn't matter how it looked. He's found a way to win the game. And Sark knows how to coach against rivals. You got to give him that. And that it is something, right? It's not nothing to go out and sweep your rivals each year. It ain't easy to do, especially in the SEC. So give Sark a ton of credit for him stepping up too. And like I said, I think Arch just once again reaffirmed what we've all seen from him lately is that he is special. It's just early on in the season, he had to get the reps in, but there's something special going on with Arch right now. He's got that it quality. He oozes that it quality. He's got it.
Hey, Rod B., I agree with all those things. I'm going to leave my final thoughts for a minute later. Matt, our producer, says we're not going anywhere. We still have some more things coming. So wait on us if you would, real quick. We'll take a couple of more chat questions. McCluskey, doubling down on your sentiment on CJ. Young Buck is crushing it. All-star roster on OTF. Best it's ever been. The OTF Avengers channel's rocking. Thank you so much for that as well. Matt, are we ready for this or do we need it? Here it is.
What we got? Oh, Elka.
We didn't play the way we needed to. Can we close the door and run a professional press conference, please? My gosh.
There you go.
Oh, boy.
That's Aggie tears right there. That felt good.
You think someone's a little hot under the collar tonight? That needs to be played again, Matt. Let's play that again, please.
Please play that again. Yeah, that was too good.
We didn't play the way we needed to. Can we close the door and run a professional press conference, please? My gosh.
Because the last press conference I remember at Texas A&M had Jimbo Fisher going up there saying he didn't spend $30 million on a recruiting class. That was real professional too, Coach.
That is great. That's going to live on and help you right there, Coach. That's beautiful. That's great.
Oh, he's mad. It's the people in the press in the press conference, folks. Hey. That caused that Kobe Black interception. Arch Manning slicing and dicing your defense. What else can we say about tonight's game? Right, there's a couple other good ones, Rod. There are.
Oh, that is so good, though.
Ethan Burke one-handed somebody.
One-handed.
Peter.
Tackling your best player by his undershirt. That's talk about little brother. He tackled your best player by his undershirt, man. Oh,
what is this? Oh, goodness.
A&M. Oh, it is. Bam.
That's having fun. We're all having fun. This is what it's about. This is what part of what doing college football is. Kozer7 says my birthday is tomorrow. Hook 'em horns. Kozer, we'll be back tomorrow morning with rapid reactions, grades, as well as some other things. This is the second best thing this year, next to adopting my son in June. Hook 'em to you. Thank you for doing that.
Congratulations.
That's
the one that had the big super chat earlier too, and I love that Aggie joke. The last time the Aggies won a national title, I believe Hitler was considered a good guy.
Yeah. Unbelievable. All right. Hey, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Oh, wait. We got one more. Matt's got one more in case you want to watch this.
A 1, 2, 3, takes five. And it's your mind, A&M. Takes five. And we'll put up one more win. Takes five, Texas fight. For Texas to be the best. Give him hell. Go Horns, go. It's goodbye to all the rest. Yeah, Horns. Yeah, Horns. Yeah, Horns. Fight. Takes five. Yeah, takes five. Takes five. Yeah, takes five.
That's the way we need to end it right there, guys. Big win, 27-17. Longhorns over the Aggies. Team happy. Steve Sarkeesian making his case for a college football playoff for the 9-3 Texas Longhorns. A&M is not going to the SEC championship game, courtesy of your Texas Longhorns. That'll do it tonight. Thank you, Matt Hutchison, behind the scenes, handling all that stuff. Thank you, Rod Babers. Thank you also to CJ Vogle. And thanks to our sponsor, Flight, the next generation of light beer with only 95 calories and just 2.6 carbs per serving. Try Flight from Yingling. Thanks to the fine folks at Flight and our friends at Faust Distributing. And thanks to all of you out there. More than 3,000 people were on here simultaneously tonight celebrating a big Longhorn win of the holiday weekend. You know, this year has not been perfect. Far from it. It was a hell of a way to end it right here. At least the regular season. All right. For Rod, for Matt, I'm Bobby Burton. And to Steve Sarkeesian, hook 'em, bud.
Hook 'em.